Kuwait, officially the state of Kuwait, is a country located in the northeastern part of the Arabian Peninsula on the coast of the Persian Gulf. It is bordered by Iraq to the north and Saudi Arabia to the south. The name of the country comes from the word Akwad in Arabic, which means fortress by the water. The country, which has an area of 17,818 square kilometers, has a population of approximately 2.9 million as of 2020. The first settlements in the region were made by the ancient Greeks in the 4th century BC. In 123 BC, it came under the rule of the Parthians. In 123 AD, it was captured by the Sasanian Empire and began to be called Hajar. In the early 18th century, with the settlement of Arab tribes in the region, the Sheikhdom of Kuwait was established, laying the foundations of present-day Kuwait. In the 19th century, along with the settlements in the Arabian Peninsula, Kuwait came under the rule of the Ottoman Empire. In 1899, with the agreement it made with the British Empire, it gained semi-independence under the guarantee and control of the British. Towards the end of the 1930s, the rich oil deposits in the country began to be discovered. In 1961, it gained full independence by separating from the United Kingdom. After this date, oil production in the country showed a great increase. In 1990, it was invaded by its neighbor, Iraq. The 7-month occupation ended with the intervention of the coalition forces led by the USA. While withdrawing from Kuwait, the Iraqi forces caused a major environmental disaster by burning about 773 oil wells, while also dealing a blow to the country's economy. After the war, reconstruction was carried out in the devastated country. The capital of Kuwait, which is governed by a parliamentary monarchy, is Kuwait, which bears the same name as the country. The country, which ranks 5th in the world in terms of oil reserves, has oil, which constitutes 95% of its exports, constitutes approximately 80% of the country's revenues. Kuwait, which is the 7th richest country in the world according to gross domestic product, is the 31st country with the highest human development index. Kuwait 1 is one of the high-income countries according to the classification made by the World Bank. The region was first settled by the ancient Greeks in the 4th century BC. In 123 BC, it came under the rule of the Parthians. In 123 AD, it was captured by the Sasanian Empire. In the 4th century, the ancient Greeks, who established colonies on the island known as Failaka, located off the coast of Kuwait, called this place Ikaros. In 123 BC, the region came under the control of the Parthians. In 224 AD, it was captured by the Sassanids and began to be called Hajar. By the 7th century, the territories that include present-day Kuwait, together with the entire Arabian Peninsula, were conquered during the era of the 4 caliphs. The Arab Bani Khalid tribe, the first people to settle permanently in the region in the 17th century, laid the foundations of modern Kuwait by establishing an emirate in 1756. In 1756, Sabai bin Jaber, who was elected by the people, became the first emir of the country. The lineage of the current dynasty of Kuwait, al-Sabah, dates back to Sabai. Under the rule of al-Sabah, Kuwait became an important trade center. Kuwait, which showed great developments especially in the pearl trade, is one of the major economies of the region with the effect of oil today. It is part of the trade network between India, the Horn of Africa, Nejd, Mesopotamia, and the Levant. In the late 19th century, it came under the control of the Ottoman Empire, along with a large part of the Arabian Peninsula. During the Ottoman period, Kuwait gained autonomy under the rule of the Al-Sabah dynasty. The British influence on the Emirate Bagli to the Ottoman Empire increased from the early 19th century onwards. In January 1899, according to the agreement that Kuwait signed with the United Kingdom, the control of foreign relations would be in the hands of the British, and in return, it would receive a certain amount of money each year. The main reason for making such an agreement was Britain's discomfort with the German empires gaining power over the Persian Gulf due to the planned railway to be built between Berlin and Baghdad. With the agreement signed between the United Kingdom and the Ottoman Empire in 1913, the Emir of Kuwait, Mubarak al-Sabah, was recognized by both states as the ruler of the autonomous administration established in the city of Kuwait. With the outbreak of World War I in 1914, the British canceled the agreement and announced that the territory of Kuwait had come under the protection of the British Empire. With the El-Akir Conference in 1922, the borders between Kuwait and Saudi Arabia were determined, and a neutral zone of approximately 5,770 square kilometers was established between the two countries. In 1934, the oil companies BP and Gulf Oil merged under the name of Kuwait Petroleum Company and took over the oil exploration and operation rights in the region. The company, which found the first oil in 1938, started its operation in 1946. Between 1946 and 1982, Kuwait enjoyed an era of prosperity driven by oil and its liberal atmosphere. The years between 1946 and 1982 are referred to as the Golden Age of Kuwait. In 1950, a major public works program began to enable Kuwaitis to achieve a modern standard of living. In 1952, the country became the largest oil exporter in the Persian Gulf region. This tremendous growth attracted many foreign workers, especially from political Palestine, India, and Egypt. In the context of the Arab Cold War, Kuwait, under the leadership of Abdullah al-Salim al-Sabah, gained its independence from the United Kingdom on June 19, 1961. The Gulf rupee, which was printed by the Reserve Bank of India, began to be used instead of the Kuwaiti dinar. With its membership in the Arab League on July 20th, 1961, and the discovery of vast oil reserves, many foreign entrepreneurs settled in the country, and the country's economy entered a great upswing. Although there were disagreements with Saudi Arabia over oil rights in the neutral zone, the problem was resolved by sharing all the oil in the region equally. Despite disputes over borders, Iraq officially recognized Kuwait and its borders in October 1963. In 1982, the country experienced an economic crisis after the collapse of the Souk Al-Manik Stock Exchange, and oil prices increased. However, the crisis was overcome quickly, and oil production in Kuwait gradually increased, filling the gap caused by the drop in oil production in Iran and Iraq due to the Iran-Iraq War. Kuwait, which initially remained neutral in the war that started in 1980, later supported Iraq financially. In addition, it allowed the war materials sent to Iraq to pass through its territory. In 1983, 5 people lost their lives as a result of 6 bomb attacks that took place in series in the country. The Shiite Dawa Party, which claimed responsibility for the attack, announced that it carried out the attack because of Kuwait's support for Iraq during the war with Iran. In September 1987, Iran launched attacks on Kuwait with Silkworm missiles. On April 5, 1988, a Boeing 747 type aircraft belonging to Kuwait Airways, flight number 422, carrying 112 passengers, including 3 members of the Kuwaiti royal family, on a flight from Bangkok to Kuwait, was hijacked by a group of Lebanese. Armed terrorists with guns and hand grenades forced the pilot to land in Mashhad, Iran, while demanding the release of 17 Shiite guerrillas held in Kuwait. After landing in Mashhad, the terrorists released a Jordanian passenger, and the hijackers, who landed in Larnaca and Algeria respectively, also killed 2 Kuwaiti passengers. After Kuwait announced that it would not release the 17 prisoners, the terrorists were allowed to leave Algeria, and the 16-day action ended. Kuwait is home to the oldest elected parliament among the Persian Gulf countries. The head of state is the emir. The emir appoints the prime minister, who is usually a member of the royal family. The council of ministers runs the government affairs, and the number of ministers cannot exceed 1/3 of the number of members of parliament. The parliament has the power to remove the prime minister or ministers in the cabinet from office. According to the constitution, a new crown prince must be approved by the parliament to ascend the throne. The parliament has 50 members and is renewed every 4 years. With the latest reforms, women have also gained the right to vote, and the number of voters has increased from 139,000 to 339,000. With the Constitution adopted on November 11, 1962, and still in force today, the powers of the emir were restricted. A parliament consisting of 50 members elected for 4 years was formed, and the government was prevented from consisting only of family members.